It's certified heart healthy by the American Heart Association. Boar's Head Smokemaster Black Forest Tan. Compromise elsewhere.
Sometimes for all sorts of reasons. You just need to move into.
So, woke up this morning and well, it didn't break until like an hour ago, but I saw the things about the injury, and for some reason, the first thing that came to my mind was that Drake song that goes, oh man, not again. That's literally the first thing in my head. Was like, oh geez, again. So if you haven't heard, first of all, welcome to the Morning Glory. My name is Eddie Law. If you haven't watched the show before, it is basically whatever's in my brain. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I just let it out on the internet. And of course, as soon as I read it, it's all I can think about. Rafael Dos Anjos, hold up, this cunt decided to fucking smash on her brakes like a bitch. I can only say that because I actually know this bitch. She fucking lives next door to me. Stupid. Anyway, Rafael Dos Anjos out due to a broken foot. A lot of people including the word allegedly to that statement. It's look, it's curious. RDA pulls out because of a quote-unquote broken foot. Verdun pulls out not too long ago because of a back and foot issue supposedly. What's going on, right? So I think he's legitimately hurt. I don't think RDA wanted to pull out of this fight. But the masses don't. It's all a big conspiracy at this point for everybody. Every time someone gets hurt, hold up, there we go. Every time someone gets hurt, it seems like we're just talking conspiracy and all this other shit, and the UFC wants to do this and all that. RDA doesn't want to fight Conor. He's gone running. Which look, first of all, Conor's gonna say that shit pretty soon. All right, he's gonna be RDA gone running. So RDA's out though. That's official. So who do you bring in? A lot of talk about Nate Diaz. I'm down with that. I mean, that's the easiest fight I think to promote without having to promote it from the get-go, right? The other fight I like is Cowboy Cerrone, and I think they could do it if they agree to fight like at 170, maybe like a 160 catch weight, something like that. But I think it's gonna be difficult to find somebody to drop to 155 other than like a Nate Diaz or somebody like that that's willing to make that harsh cut for a shot at Conor. Now, a lot of people are saying, are they gonna make an interim belt for this one too? You never know. Don't fucking push it. All right. The UFC will do some stupid shit like that, and only because Conor will say something like, "I'm not fighting this for a belt." So yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I think he's gonna ask for an interim belt. Fucking hey, dude, the sun is at the wrong angle here. Hold up. Nope, it's not gonna help. So sorry about the quality in video here, but the sun's just gonna be there. Yeah, man, look, he might ask for an interim belt, and the UFC might give it to him. You never know, and he would not deserve an interim belt whatsoever. But a lot of people were like, fucking RDA gonna run in, all sorts of shit. I don't think he's ready. I think he's legit. I'm thinking and I'm hoping he's actually hurt. I would hate to start thinking that RDA's, pussing out too. A lot was made when Aldo busted his rib. A lot was made of that, saying it was bullshit. So and he released an X-ray. I wonder if RDA is going to release an X-ray of his foot to prove that it's actually broken. You never know. I mean, you truly never know. What fighters are thinking, but it's like I think it's this. The other thing that I read was people were like, "Oh, great, another Brazilian pulls out of a fight. That's new." And oh shit. Sorry, I get these traffic alerts on my text messages, and they pop up on the screen during the show. Anyway, so it's like now you can't trust any Brazilian in the main event. Verdun did it. RDA, same camp. They're full of shit, or are they full of shit? It's interesting to see. But I think RDA is legitimately hurt. I don't think he would pull out of a fight like that. But especially when I was gonna get him paid big time. But for sure, Conor's gonna be like, I want an interim belt. I'm pretty sure he'd rather fight Nate Diaz than Cowboy at this point. Although he'd fight either one, I think he'd rather fight Nate. But that'd be a more entertaining fight. But and honestly, I'm rooting for Nate to get that fight, not necessarily because I think he would win, because I think Conor would win anyway. Maybe, but because I think because I want Nate Diaz to get a nice little payday. Obviously Conor McGregor is the money fight. You get paid for fighting Conor McGregor, so I'd be okay with Nate Diaz. Psyching off ain't easy. Good by his team. You know what? That's the other thing I read. People talking about, hey, RDA's afraid of popping hot for something. I'm like, damn, maybe. I mean, ooh. I haven't looked at and I have an annoying habit of the week of the fight, checking to see how many times guys are randomly tested by USADA. You can actually check that online out there. I think it's USADA.gov or something like that. Or just look up USADA and you can find their website. Maybe .org, I'm not sure. But it's not fight week, so I didn't even look at it. But now I'm curious to go see how many times RDA was randomly tested in the last 6 months. I'm assuming it was a lot. It should be a lot. But imagine if that happens. Imagine if he pulled out because he don't want to get tested, or maybe he did test positive or something, and the UFC's like, look, man, you pull out of the fight, we'll just won't say anything about it. Can you imagine if that's one of those things? It'd be kind of crazy, But I think the UFC's got a lot of people paranoid. The UFC's got a lot of people paranoid about bullshit, fucking shenanigans and shit. Involving people pulling out and shit. I know Joker was telling me on Twitter, like, oh, it's because they're gonna if you get injured, they should test them ASAP. I agree. You know what? I agree. That's one of those things. If you pull out of a fight, you should be tested immediately. Like that the second you announce, like, all right, come, we gotta drive your blood and all that, for sure. Immediate testing. Now Joker was telling me, here's what I'm saying, okay? Because he goes, Joker said that maybe the UFC had RDA pull out because they want to build up Conor at lightweight. You don't have to build Conor up for anything. There's literally zero reason to have to build Conor up to do shit. Conor McGregor built himself up. All right, and that knockout of Jose Aldo, who we said for years should have fought at 155 and we want to see at 155, the 13-second knockout, he's built up enough at 155. All right, it's not a build-up thing. It has nothing to do with putting Conor's name out there. It has everything to do with RDA just being injured. That's literally got to be it. There's no way RDA is not actually injured. But let's play devil's advocate. Let's say RDA isn't injured. He just pulled out because he's scared. He didn't think he'd fight enough. This fight will be his toughest. You're talking about Conor RDA. RDA pulled out, so it's not going to be a fight. But if it ever happens, I agree. It would have been. I think Conor's toughest fight. It would be one of RDA's toughest fights too, because I don't think he's ever dealt with someone that moves the way Conor does, as far as being able to get in and out and everything. And he'd probably be quicker than RDA too, but who knows? Definitely not more powerful. Oh, really? Oh, fuck, dude. All right, well, I'll let you know. RDA is out of UFC 196, broken foot. Announced about an hour and change ago this morning. Unfortunately, obviously he's out. And so now they're looking for a replacement. Everyone's talking interim belt or no interim belt. Is RDA running? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly my reaction, dude. I read it and I was like, motherfucker, like, this would fucking happen. A fight that I've been looking forward to for a while, and that shit happens. Mike, you're full of shit. There's no way that's true. Are you just you're just making a joke? Cause that would be fucking hilarious. Caitlyn Jenner going back to being Bruce. This fucking guy. If it does happen, I'd be happy. I would laugh. Next two are good pay-per-views. 196 would have been great. The one after that, 197, is a great one. John Jones. Oh, God, the co-main is good, and I can't remember what it is. And then Pettis Barbosa is the third fight. What is it, co-main on that one? It's a good one, too. Oh, DJ against Cejudo. Okay, not a great one, but still. Because I don't think Cejudo could beat DJ. But, maybe he will. Who knows? If he does, it'll be, he'll be one of the better... Cejudo could go down as one of the best combat athletes, ever. As far as a guy that wrestled and got, gold medals and all that. And then the UFC being able to win a championship against, possibly the best flyweight ever. What the fuck is wrong with that guy? Dude, I swear to God, driving in Arizona is a motherfucker. Silver Bisping is a classic for sure, and that one's on Fight Pass. It's gonna be awesome. Sunday or Saturday morning fights. Cejudo isn't that good in my eyes. Mine either. I'm with you. But anyway, so the RDA thing. So if he pulled out, he's actually hurt. It sucks, and I hope he gets back soon. But this hey, what up, dude? But just the thing with the fucking, what's it called? The connection with Verdum was enough to make people wonder, because Verdum pulled out and all that. And look, Verdum did a smart thing. Whether or not he was injured, the days before the fucking fight against Kane and Kane pulls out, there was no way they're gonna make that much money. He gets pay-per-view points, believe that. So, this RDA pulling out, whatever. It's injury. I hope look. I'm gonna go ahead and just go with I believe he's hurt, and I hope he gets better soon, because we do want to see that fight. But it's just the questions are coming up. Who is McGregor gonna fight, and is it gonna be an interim belt? That's kind of the only questions now. I don't think he deserves an interim belt. I really don't think the situation warrants one, because RDA just fought not so long ago. But these days Conor gets what Conor wants, right? As far as the UFC goes, so it might happen. Yeah, it really blows, man. His injury, broken foot, according to every source out there, really. His RDA broken foot, which is I think like a 3 to 4 months recovery time injury. So he'd probably miss UFC 200 and all that. You know what's funny? Hangnail, that'd be funny as hell. You know what's funny? Everyone's asking for proof right now. They want to see the foot. They want to see an X-ray. And he might have to do it. No one believes Brazilian fighters anymore that are taking on Conor, and the guys that are main eventing fights that just pull out because of the replacements and all that. So, he might have to do that. Throw out an X-ray just to stop the shit. But then everyone's gonna be like, oh, you can get a fake X-ray on the streets of Brazil for $5, no problem. So, who knows, man? You were one of my first ghosts. Oh, appreciate that. Yeah, so yeah, anyway, it's all weird. So the facts are this, right? RDA's out, so now, we can keep talking all day about whether he, bitched out or not, or pushed out and ran away and all that. But, there you go, you should, man. Scoping's fun. But now, obviously, RDA's out, who comes in? I can get a fake social security number in downtown LA too. Hey, it's not hard to do. I'm pretty sure it's not hard to do. So, yeah, look, again, it doesn't really matter at this point. RDA's out. Who do you bring in? Nate Diaz? I'm down with that fight. Cowboy Cerrone, at a catch weight, I'm down with that fight. I don't know if Cowboy can make, 155 in a few, in less than a week. People talking about Anthony Pettis. I really don't even think he's even started weight cutting for 197. So, I think he'd have a really, really difficult cut. That kid gets fat. He gets fat when he's not about to get in a fight. And he's about to get in a fight at 197, but that was just announced. The names are thrown out there. Cowboy Cerrone, Anthony Pettis. Ooh, the one interesting one, Khabib. And that's because he's fighting in April against Tony Ferguson. I was also talking Tony Ferguson, but Khabib is a more interesting name. But that fight's in April. So the question is Khabib healthy enough to fight now? And, can he make 155? So, which I think he could. I think those Russian cats are crazy. But Khabib Nurmagomedov maybe. They're talking Tony Ferguson. I don't think they give him that fight. Honestly, to me, the logical choice is between Nate Diaz and Donald Cerrone. I think that's the choice, or the whatever. That's the best picks, I think, is those two guys, the more logical ones. Everyone started going, oh, Frank Yeager, throw him in there. You could if he was healthy. He's injured apparently, dealing with injury, so he can't fight. Talk about a shitty fucking timing for injury, because Frank Yeager for sure steps in there and at least puts up a pretty good fight against good old Conor. Cerrone equals money ratings, as does Nate Diaz. If you remember the pop that Nate Diaz got when he walked out in Orlando on the other side of the fucking country, when he's from LA, or he's from Lodi. He lives in Lodi, I think, but he's from Stockton and all that, California. To get that kind of pop on the other side of the country is pretty legit. If he puts the weed down, you know what? He could. Here's the thing: the way that works now, the levels that are acceptable are at a level now where, as long as you don't smoke as long as you stop smoking like the day before, you're fine. Literally, that's kind of it. Which tells you that Nick Diaz got baked as shit the night before and probably the morning of his fight against Anderson Silva. So it's that's where the levels are at. They've been raised. Yeah, you would legitimately have to either smoke right before the fight in like the entire day, the entire morning, all the way to the night before, which I guarantee Nick Diaz did. So, yeah, if Nate Diaz, and look, I'll tell you what, Nate Diaz is not as big of a pothead as his brother. I guarantee. I think Nate Diaz might be the more mature out of the two, and the more business savvy at this point. Took hits between rounds. Hey, you can you can probably get a vaporizer in the cage, and you know, put it in the water bottle when you're taking a drink, take a hit. But I'm not sure how that would help you. Although it made that fight entertaining as fuck. I mean, I don't think Nick Diaz would have thought of laying down the way he did against Silva. You know, I mean, and offering his back and coming to the cage and shit if he wasn't a little bit high. Like, I'm sure he thought that shit was hilarious too at the moment. But I think Nate Diaz would be all right. I don't think he'd test positive for anything. I think he'd be able to. I think he has the maturity to be like, yeah, I should probably stop smoking for this fight at least, and just cut it like a couple days before. What else we got? Yeah, it really was. Like, people were hating on Nick Diaz. I was laughing. I enjoyed the fuck out of that. Because then he came in and actually fought. He fucking smashed on Silva for a while. And then Silva won the fight and whatever, and tied dick pills. That's kind of where we're at. Yeah. So it's shitty news. RDA being out and everything. He was tagging him good. Silva was getting him back though. There was that one spot in the fight. I want to say it's the third or fourth round where Silva had him by the throat with one hand and started punching him with the other, and Nick couldn't do shit about it. I was like, oh no, don't get finished, dude. Do not get finished. Fuck. And he did, to his credit. But yeah, when he was like, when he was just choking him and punching him in the face, Silva, and I was like, fuck, Nick is not strong enough to do this with Silva. Like, Silva's a strong motherfucker. That dude used to fight at 205 at times, and he fights at 185 normally. Fucking Nick never fights at 185, or rarely fought any higher than 170. Hell, he used to fight at 155. So, yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I'd be a fan of. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give you my number one pick for a replacement. My number two pick. Number one pick, Nate Diaz. Just because I think that would be. You could easily sell that and do real good on pay-per-view because of who's fighting. The fact that they both talk shit and they're both good at it. It sucks that they didn't get, that they wouldn't get months to build it up and talk as much shit as possible. But I think you still do really good with Nate Diaz. If not, maybe even better than you would have with RDA, really. And maybe not for the fact that the belt would be involved with RDA, obviously. All right, and Conor winning a belt, a second belt would be huge for ratings and all that. Or having the possibility of it winning a second belt would be huge. So my number one pick for that, Nate Diaz. My number two pick, Cowboy Cerrone at like 160 pounds. Is Diaz ready? Well, that's the question, but you wouldn't put him in there because you think he wins. I mean, think about it. You would not put Nate Diaz in there because you think he's going to win. You'd put him in there because he's going to sell. And because I don't think Conor wants to pull out with all the Irish traveling to go see him. All the people that are traveling to go see him, they're not going to pull. He's not going to want to pull out and fuck all that up. So, as much of a douche as Conor can come off as, he's not that much of a douche to where he's gonna fuck his people. So I think Conor's gonna do everything he can to still fight, and I think he's gonna pick either Nate or Cerrone. Now I think Nate Diaz is smarter than to think he's ever gonna be a title holder in the UFC. It just doesn't look like that'll ever happen. So Nate Diaz wants to get paid, and what bigger fight out there for a guy like Nate Diaz than Conor McGregor, paycheck wise? You know what I mean? So I think Nate Diaz, ready or not, is gonna say he's ready. That's what I think. So I hope that's the fight. Otherwise, give me Conor Cerrone at like a 160 catch weight. It's not gonna be for a belt, so just make it happen. 160 catch weight, and let him go. And maybe bullshit around with the interim title because I'm pretty sure Conor's gonna be asking about that for sure. I would love to see Cowboy Cerrone. So again, our replacement's not going to be put in there to beat him, to necessarily give him a good fight. They might. You never know. This is MMA. This is why you love it, because anybody can get beaten anytime by anybody. You know what I mean? And ask GSP against Matt Serra back in the day. So, or that's Ronda Rousey. But it's that's why you love it, but they're not going to be putting anybody in there thinking, oh, he could beat Conor. It'll be a good fight. I think he might be able to beat Conor. I think that's at all what they're thinking. They're thinking, put someone in there because we need pay-per-views. It's kind of it. and they get paid. You know, and I honestly, I'm rooting for Nate Diaz to get the fight because I'm a fan and I want him to get paid. That dude, I mean, how are you Nate Diaz, former tough winner, and you're still only making like 20-20 or 40-40, whatever it is? First of all, that's awful management. He should. I hope he's not still with the same manager, because fire that guy if you're still with him. And two, that's the UFC not paying one of the pioneers, honestly, of the company. You know what I mean? He won one of the earlier fucking seasons, and he's been making money for those guys ever since. The man's keeping him down. Yeah, exactly. So I just hope Nate gets the fight and at least gets paid like a nice little check for fighting in there. But it's hard to guess what the UFC's thinking. You can guess the possibilities and what their options might be, but rarely do they go the way that we want them to. So even Nick said he would never fight for that little paycheck. I just think Nate Diaz is going to he's just trying to kind of fight his contract out. And, fight his contract out, maybe get a couple bonuses, get paid a little bit here and there, and then get a big fight. I mean, he was going after McGregor right after his last fight, on the microphone, at the post-fight press conference, all that stuff. So, Nate recognizes it. He wants to get that money too. So, and I think if he fought Conor, he'd do a Bellator bound. Maybe if Nate Diaz's contract runs out, and the UFC don't want to pay him, which I think to be idiots to not fucking try and pay him a little more at least. If they don't pay him and Bellator's willing to pay, Bellator's willing to pay. I mean, I said it yesterday on a couple of shows that World Series of Fighting paid Marlon Moraes, how do you say his last name? $140,000 and held the event in a fucking rec center. Okay, that was this last Saturday. World Series of Fighting was in a rec center. There was girls volleyball going on by like 60 feet behind the last chair. It was ridiculous, but the main event guy got 140 G's. Okay, so Bellator could definitely take them and start building up their numbers. And Nate's not old at all, actually. I think he's still late 20s, if not 30 years old maybe. And he's plenty of prime to go, really. And I think he could. They could put him in there. I mean, he'd be fighting with guys like... Actually, I think Benson's fighting at 170 in Bellator. I want to say that, but you never know. Get a Nate Diaz against Benson Henderson. You could, and then Nate Diaz that's healthy this time. Wouldn't mind watching that. So... Alright, that's going to do it for me. Again, if you haven't heard, Rafael Dos Anjos injured out of UFC 196. We're waiting for a replacement. I'm rooting for Nate Diaz or Nate Diaz or Cowboy Cerrone to get that spot. We'll find out. I'm assuming today. Like this, I think I have a really difficult time. Later, Mike. I think they'd have a very difficult time. Waiting 2 or 3 days to name a replacement. I think they have to do it today and have to get it done today and announce it today. And start promoting like a motherfucker. I'll tell you that much. Here's my dark horse pick. All right, you ready? Jose Aldo. That's my dark horse pick for a replacement fight, because it's possible, I think. But anyway, we'll see. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I'll catch you guys later on. Working on possibly doing a Keyboard Warriors tonight. I'm hoping, and so we'll see here. And but other than that, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Later, dude. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. 2 shows tomorrow for sure. In the pocket and in the afternoon, and then as usual, my nighttime Wednesday show. Breaking the Law with Eddie Law. I talk about all the sports. So join me for that too. You guys have a wonderful day. Remember, we're one day closer to death, so make every single day count. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.